Welcome to the Healthpreneur podcast. My name is Uriel Kame, New York Times bestselling author, former professional athlete, and founder of Healthpreneur, the world's leading company helping health and fitness experts start and scale high-end coaching businesses. If you want to attract more clients, learn how to convert them without feeling salesy, and deliver an amazing program for them on the back end, if you want to be inspired by what others just like you have gone through and how you can do the same no matter what life throws your way, then you are in the right place, because every single week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to be bringing you the best to help you take your knowledge and expertise to the next level with your health or fitness coaching business. And if you enjoy what you see and hear and would like to take your business to the next level, then I invite you to check out our free online training over at healthpreneurgroup.com/training. And for now, let's get into today's episode. What's going on, Healthpreneur? All right, so I'm going to be sharing with you one of my favorite stories today, one of my favorite analogies to explain the fourth client activator. If you're just joining us, we've been talking about the client activator scorecard, which is a new 2-page tool we've developed to help you improve your conversions to get more clients and make more money. If you haven't downloaded your copy, you can do so over at healthpreneurgroup.com/scorecard. The last 3 episodes, we've talked about the market pillar and the 3 activators within that. So remember, there's 3 pillars: market, message, and magic. So each of those pillars has 3 activators to help you turn cold leads into high-paying clients. Today, we segue into message, or the messaging. Really excited about this because this is an area where a lot of people drop the ball. Again, I wish I could say one activator is more important than the other, but honestly, they're all equally important. So today, let's look at the spectrum of where you might be, where you want to be. So on the low end of the spectrum in terms of your messaging, here's a statement that might reflect that. You can't quite clarify your message. It's vague and unclear. Prospects aren't quite sure what you do. How many of you can relate to that? Well, a lot, I think, a lot. Right? Because when I look at websites and when I look at landing pages, when I look at offers, actually one of our clients just posted one of her new landing pages in our group, and I was like, I'm not too sure I understand this. But again, I'm not her target market, so maybe that's why. Anyways, the opposite end of the spectrum, which is the ideal, is your message is crystal clear and is impossible to be misunderstood. That's the key phrase, impossible to be misunderstood. It means one thing, and everyone gets it. Okay, got that? All right, so let me give you an analogy to make sense of this. Actually, before that, let's go back to how the brain works. When you feel overwhelmed, like you've got 1,000 things to do, right? How do you feel? Do you feel clear, or do you feel like you're going into stress, fight, or flight mode? Probably the latter, right? More stress, fight or flight. You don't feel comfortable. And that's because your brain is having to work harder to make sense of what's going on. If we think of email and inbox, right? So you have an email that comes in, and what do you do with that email? Well, some people have a whole process where, maybe they follow a get stuff done process, right? Which I can't even remember the author of that whole program, but anyways, I remember reading it years ago. And one of the things was, if it takes under 2 minutes, get it done right now. So if you have an email that comes through and the email can just really quickly respond, you can get rid of it, boom, get it out of the inbox, keep the inbox clean. Now, I'm very guilty of not doing this enough because my inbox starts to accumulate, which I don't like. And the reason for that is because I get emails that come in that require me to think more than I want to. So instead of me taking action immediately, they sit there and I delay my response in many cases. So if we think of this as an example of how the brain works, when you put a message in front of someone and they have to think more than they want to, that is going to hurt your conversions. And what that means is that if your messaging isn't crystal clear, where almost at the snap of a finger, they understand what it is you do or what it is you're offering, it's going to be very challenging for you to convert them into a client, a lead, whatever whatever you want. So the fourth client activator is clear messaging. So let's look at this analogy. I love this analogy. So let's say that we were on Fear Factor. Remember that show way back in the day? Joe Rogan was the host. And I'm asking you to put your hand inside of a black box. Now, you don't know what's inside this black box. You might as well have a blindfold on. You have no clue. There could be $1 million in there, but there could also be a cobra snake. There could be jelly beans, or there could be dog droppings. You don't know. Now, if you don't already really have a high degree of know, like, and trust with me, then what is the likelihood of you putting your hand into that box? Pretty slim, right? Okay, so that's the black box. And the flip side would be, let's say we have the black box on one table and then another box on another table. And this box is essentially a fishbowl. And I say to you, just put your hand in that fishbowl because there's a key at the bottom. And if you grab that key, it'll unlock all of your dreams. You're like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll just put my hand in. Cool. Awesome. Thanks. What was the difference? What was the difference? The difference is that in the fishbowl, you see exactly what you're getting into and you can see the outcome. In the black box, you've had no idea what's about to happen. It could be great, but it could also be really bad, right? So the analogy here is that a lot of messaging that I see and that I've been guilty of putting out into the marketplace, especially early on in my career, was black box marketing. That's actually a pretty good name, right? Black box marketing, how to create marketing that no one cares about. There we go. So what that means is the message I was using meant nothing. Like it was so vague and confusing and unclear that very few people took action because either they didn't want it, they didn't care about it, or they didn't understand it. Does that make sense? Now on the flip side, the fishbowl is really what we want. It's crystal clear, like a bowl, a glass bowl would be. You can see right through it. It's impossible to misunderstand. Hey, there's a fish there. I see a fish. Everyone sees a fish. So it means the same thing to everyone. It doesn't just mean a fish to some people and a whale to other people. It's a fish. It's a goldfish to every single person who sees it. I really want you to think about this because when you are crafting a message, like on your homepage for your website, which again, we don't really care about because no one sees your website anyways, but more importantly, your landing page. If you're offering a webinar that people are going to register for, obviously this is something we highly recommend because they're amazing. But again, your webinar has to be not just the webinar, but the thinking leading up to the webinar. Like what is the promise? What's the messaging around the webinar that is going to get someone to be like, yeah, I need to attend this thing. I don't care if it's 5 hours, I'm going to watch this. If that is not clear, if the people land on that page and they're looking at the headline and they're like, what? What is this all about? I have no clue what this is. They're gone, right? Because they're going to have to think. And if they have to think, that creates a micro stress response. And that stress response is going to lead them to feeling not good, right? Not in a depressed fashion, but just at a really cerebral level, like a really surface, like I don't feel comfortable. Like I'm not sure why I'd want to do this, like type of thing. I'm not clear what it is. I'm out. But if the flip side to that is, here's a very specific thing you want. Here's exactly what you're going to get. Boom. Okay. That's interesting. That's a bit more compelling. So your marketing, within your marketing, your message, right? The words that you use need to be very clear. So the Client Activator Scorecard is a 2-page tool that helps you identify the 9 activators that turn cold leads into high-paying clients. Now that is all, I think, very clear, except for the 9 activators. Now the 9 activators, what does that do? That invokes curiosity. And curiosity is a good thing, and you can use curiosity in your messaging as long as the overall objective of the message is very clear, right? So you want to discover what these 9 activators are. Well, what are you going to do? Well, you got to go opt in to grab the PDF, right? So go to healthpreneurgroup.com/scorecard. So if I said, there's this scorecard thing and it's got a bunch of things and a bunch of scores and it's going to help you identify what's going on in your business and then how you can create a breakthrough in your business, it becomes way too dude, spend some time thinking to reduce the number of words you're using to clarify your thinking. I don't know if it was Oscar Wilde or one of those, famous writers or whatever back in the day said, I'm sorry. Something along the lines of, I'm sorry it took so long to write such a short thing. If I had less time, I would have written it. If I had less time, I would have written something longer. And that's the thing, is like the fewer words you use, the more thinking you have to incorporate, because it requires thinking to clarify your message. It's very easy to ramble on, but it's harder to simplify and clarify. And I think that's a really great hallmark sign of someone who really understands their stuff, is they can simplify, distill, and clarify what it is that they're trying to get across. So if your message is vague, unclear, cloudy, if when the person is reading this or hearing this, they're not able to form very clear, vivid images in their mind of what's about to happen, that doesn't create certainty. And if they don't have certainty, they're not going to convert. Now let's look at the example of a phone conversation with a prospect. You talk about, you get to the part of the call where you talk about your program and how it's going to help them. And in their mind, they're thinking, I have no clue what you're talking about. I can't see this in how does this work? I don't understand. So that's what they're thinking in their mind. It gets to the part of the call where you're like, hey, well, do you want to work together? And they say something like, I need to think about it, or I need to talk to my spouse, I need to talk to my dog, I need to talk to my postman, whatever excuse they're going to throw at you. And the only reason they're using that excuse is because in their minds, they have not been able to bridge what they want for where they are now with what they want, and they can't see your program as the visible bridge. It's like they see part of the bridge, but then the rest of it is in the clouds. And most people don't have enough faith to just take it step by step. They have to be able to see the end result and see how it's all going to tie together. So the more clear you can communicate what you do on a phone call, the better off you're going to be converting people into clients. That's a higher level example of how you take a prospect into paying you money. But we can bring it all the way back down into a landing page to get someone to opt in. Clarity of message at every step of the process is extremely important. So that is our fourth client activator. Again, it's our first one within the message pillar. Now, in the next episode, we're going to talk about the second client activator in the message pillar, or the fifth client activator overall. Hey, I'm not going to even tell you what it is, right? So you got to join me on that episode. It's coming up in 2 days. For now, remember to grab the Client Activator Scorecard over at healthpreneurgroup.com/scorecard. Download it today, get your score, see where the leaks and opportunities are, and then attend the deep dive training so I can show you how to increase your score so you can get more clients, serve more people, and make more money. That's all from me today. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next episode. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the Healthpreneur podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, here's what I'd like you to do right now. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Healthpreneur podcast on iTunes. And while you're there, leave us a rating or review. It helps us get in front of more people and change more lives. And if you're ready to start or scale your health or fitness coaching business and want to start getting in front of more people, working with them at a higher level without trading time for money, then I invite you to check out our free 7-figure health business blueprint training, totally free right now. And you can do so at healthpreneurgroup.com/training. For now, thank you so much for joining us. Continue to be great, do great, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.